Alright, hello friends! How's it going? So, I am going to get back into painting today, and I'm really excited about this one. I picked a really old land, and I'm actually pretty stoked about it in particular because I've never painted like a really old land before. I've done like a I've done lands before that were before the modern style card border, but I've never done one as old as this one. Now this is a Christopher Rush forest from the revised base set, and as you can see, I have not done any kind of work on it yet. Richard Lash, good to see you, man. Glad to have you in here, dude. I'm so excited, by the way, about what we were talking about earlier, Richard Lash. So I'm still thinking about that and conceiving stuff like that. So I'm just so excited because I know I've been putting off our project for a really long time, and I feel bad about it. But I started working on it earlier last week, like the first rough sketches and stuff like that. And I feel like it's coming together. Like I actually have a really good idea for what I want to do for our project, Richard. So I'm just really excited. We'll talk more about it later, so it's all good. But anyways, talking about this force, I'm really excited because first of all, I think I've talked about it before. Christopher Rush is actually one of my favorite magic artists. And I mean, I have done a Black Lotus painting before, and I have been very interested in Christopher Rush's artwork for quite some time. And for example, like one of my favorite Christopher Rush pieces is, and I've talked about it before, is it's what's it called? Oh, it just suddenly slipped my mind. Imprison. That's it. Imprison. So I always like to tell people that my favorite artwork by Christopher Rush is the old card Imprison, which it's just so cool. It really kind of just really shows off the really interesting style and work that Christopher Rush does in so many ways. I've always wanted to own one, but if I remember correctly, it's actually a really expensive card. So I've kind of set it as something that I will buy eventually when I have the money to kind of throw at it. But until then, I've kind of just put it off to the side. But every once in a while, I get some really cool cards that, well, I mean, I have a collection of various different pieces by Christopher Rush. So this forest is one of them, and it's from Revised. And I just really like his style. It's very simplistic, but it gets a very clear idea across to you of what it's supposed to be. I have not laid down the base coating yet, and I know that normally I like to set up my base coating before I start the stream. However, I'm doing this very differently because it's going to be as obvious normally when I do the lands. I usually will outline the little like symbol in the front for the modern style, and that's not going to be the case for this one. I plan to actually kind of go around the words. I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to do it, but I have some ideas of what I'm probably going to try to do. And in addition to leaving this open so that people can still read it, I also plan to leave the word forest available, which is also very different than what I normally do. Because normally I do a complete paint over except for the symbol in the middle. But because of how old this land is and the style that I'm doing, I'm going to actually leave the word forest up at the top so that people can read that. And I'm also going to leave this out and available so that people can read it as well. And these are actually not the, like, I have a few of these lands. I also have some islands from Revised and some mountains from Revised and things like that. But I also have some lands from Unlimited, too. I don't have a lot of them. I have, like, 4 of them. And I think, like, 2 of them are islands, and one of them is a forest, and I think the 4th one is, like, a mountain or something like that. Or maybe it's a swamp. I can't remember. Hey, Lettuce! And I see Rebecca's in here. Hello! Hello, all my lovely people that want to come in and hang out. I appreciate you all being in here. So I'm going to move this out of the way just because I'm going to set up my base coating, which is just going to be the gray that I always do. So, and we're going to kind of work on it a little bit. And I know that the base coating's probably going to take me some time to get it all set up. But I just really wanted to kind of do it on camera since it's going to be just a little bit different this time. I mean, it's not super different, but it is different enough that I kind of wanted to show what I was doing because, you know, some people are kind of used to the normal style that I do it, and I'm going about it just a little bit differently this time around. So I figured I would do it on camera, unlike how I normally do it off camera. So I got my white here. I'm kind of storing up my paintbrush here in my water so I can get that nice and clean. And I'll put a little bit of black here. I don't need a lot of black. I don't think I'll need very much black. I always end up like putting like throwing a lot of my black away, so I'm trying really hard not to use a whole bunch of it. But yeah, I was just really excited to work on this piece. I have a couple of cards in particular that I'm really excited about painting. I've actually set aside like I have like a pile of them over here on my desk that I really want to work on because I've had some really good ideas for card paintings lately. And oh, this is not the brush I want to use. I don't know why I pulled it out. But I'm just really excited to kind of like get back into doing more painting and things like that. Because I know I didn't do any painting last week. Last week was kind of a hectic week for me. I didn't really have the chance to do as many streams as I wanted. I think I only did 2 streams last week. So I'm going to try to do at the very least 3 streams this week. One day, I have to take tomorrow off because I have a bunch of errands I have to run, and I'm meeting up with somebody as well. So I can't promise that I'm going to be able to do 4 streams or anything like that. But I do plan on trying to do 3 this week, for sure. It's just kind of crazy because I had a really hectic work week this last week. And I was the last couple of days I was so dead tired. Like it was so awful. I had to like work overtime on one particular day. And it was just nuts because so normally my job I have like a person who's supposed to help me out in the kitchen. And we actually recently lost one of our people, and they were the person who assists me in the kitchen on one of my days. So I've been actually having to work completely solo in my kitchen when I'm working. So like I basically, which is nice because I actually love having the entire kitchen to myself when I'm working. I'm a very independent worker when it comes to my job. I kind of just memorize everything, and I like things done in certain ways. And so, you know, I really like having that level of independence in my kitchen, but it also means that I have tons and tons of work that I have to do. And so a couple of days ago I had like, it was really hectic. I was on my feet for like, I think like 9 hours straight. I didn't really get the chance to, you know, take much of a break or anything like that. And it was just very tiring. So, you know, my work schedule has been crazy, which is kind of why I've been not really able to be as much of a part of the community as I normally am, like, and hanging out with you guys as much, so it's been a little crazy, but I'm working on it. Okay, so I'm going to get this out of the way. I made a nice little gray for myself, and I'm going to bring this camera nice and close, and we're just going to start painting away, like madmen. Oh, well, thank you, Richard Lash. I really appreciate it. It's all good. I appreciate any kind of thumbs up you guys give me, and if that's no thumbs up, then I understand. I just realized I'm being so sloppy, you guys. Can you guys see? Can you guys look at this right now and tell me the major mistake that I've made? Can you guys see already? Like, I haven't put down any paint. Can you guys see a major mistake that I've made? Because I made a huge mistake, and I don't know if you guys can see it. My major mistake is I didn't tape up my card. I did not tape up my card. And I can't expect to paint this card unless it's all taped up. I'm just all kinds of sloppy today, guys. I don't know what's going on. I'm just being a sloppy, sloppy boy today. So we're going to zoom this out, and we're going to tape up this card. Here's my handy-dandy painter's tape. I'm so glad I caught myself from like right before I put the paint down, because that would have been bad. You always want to tape up your card. Always, always. Like, I feel like I've talked about that so many times in the past, and it's like I've never, like, I don't know. I've never really forgotten to do that before until today. So you want to tape your card, Wrath of Wood, because if you don't tape up your card, like, you just want to set up the tape on the back. And what that does is that's going to prevent you from making a mess on the back and on the corners and sides. So, like, because sometimes your paint will, like, catch on the edges or on the back side of the card. And you don't want to do that. Like, you don't want paint on anything other than the front face of the card. Um, so you always want to tape up your paint. I mean, tape up your paint. You always want to tape up your card before you paint it. I'm just being the sloppy boy today, guys. I guess it just kind of shows how I have not done enough painting recently and I need to do more painting. So, you guys get to see me do the whole dang process all the way from the very beginning. I don't think I've ever done that on stream, like the whole entire beginning process of my paint jobs, from all the way back from like taping. It's weird. I was running around like a madman to get this stream all set up, and I had a bunch of other things I had to do around the house today. So I'm just like way behind and not paying attention to all the things that I should be paying attention. But you know, here we are. We're having a good time. We're kind of bonding and bonding up this card as well. Because as Richard Lash has already mentioned, the card is apparently into bondage. There we go. All right. So now the card's all taped up. And just to kind of like talk a little bit more about the taping process, I always like to make sure, you always want to make sure that there's an edge of the tape. You can kind of see the blue on the side, right here and on each side. And then obviously there's big pieces of tape on the ends, the top and the bottom. You just want to make sure because you don't want the paint to be on the table, like you don't want it to like cover up the sides, so you want to make sure that you have enough space on the tape to be able to like kind of, you know, edge your paint onto and not have a problem with that. Okay, the card is taped up, the primer is made, we can actually paint the card now. Oh man, feels so ridiculous having messed up that bad. Oh well, it's fine. We all just get to hang out, and we'll probably do this card across a couple of streams. I'm very interested to see how this particular one is going to come out, because I've never done a really old card like this before. At least as far as I can recall, I don't think I've done a really old card. I've done a a non-modern swamp before. I was doing it to kind of experiment. I think this is just a little too wet. Goodness gracious. Everything is just messing me up right now. I did a 7th edition swamp, but when I did it, I purposely was doing it for a painting experiment, where the way that the experiment was done was that I wanted to kind of do a full art swamp, but I wanted specifically the border to still be attached. So like I painted all the sides and the corners, and like I also painted the middle of the card, but I left all of the brown borders out and visible. And I wanted to do it that way at that time, because I was kind of like, I had this idea in my head that I could make it look like as if the artwork was being framed by like a stone frame, which is what the border was. And it looked kind of interesting at the time, but I didn't like it enough to want to make it a regular thing. Because that's what I was experimenting for when I did it that way, was I was trying to see like, oh, like maybe this is a new style that I can try out that might be really fun to work with. What is going on with my paint? It is so weird. I think I need to thicken it up. I think that's the problem. It's very streaky. It's acting like it has a lot of water in it, which is very strange. It's not normally like that. So I'm going to kind of like add a little bit more white to it just to kind of thicken it up a little bit. It'll probably also reduce the darker color of the gray, which may or may not be a good thing. I don't know, but I'm just really weirded out about how watery it is. So let's kind of see if this coloration works just a little bit better. I'm hoping it will. Okay, let's try this again. Let's see if we can. Oh, that looks so much better. That looks so much better. There we go. All right. I think I got it a little bit better here. It's definitely it's got a thicker coat to it, which is kind of what I wanted. It's still a little bit streaky, but that's okay because I can just go over it with a few more layers and it'll probably fill in just fine. But I definitely have to watch it a little more carefully because I don't really know what caused it to be watery. I must have just like over dipped my brush by accident and wasn't paying attention to how dry it was right before I dipped it in the paint, which can sometimes be a problem. I mean, a lot of the time, like, it is nice to kind of have like your brush a little more wet than normal when you're doing some painting like this. But sometimes it can be a major problem, so I just gotta watch it a little more carefully and be a little more careful with it. There's something, oh, so, like, it was really funny, right before I started, right before I started setting up the stream, I was doing a bunch of, chores around the house, and, I was kind of curious, so, like, I've been kind of slowly getting into watching, Bob Ross videos. Like, I haven't really dived deep into it yet, but I find him really interesting, and I really want to learn more from him. So I have like I'm subscribed to his channel and all that, which is basically just they don't really post content on it anymore, but they have a lot of like the old seasons of the show and everything. So I've been kind of like slowly trying to get more into watching his material because I'm not as into it as I should be. Um, so I was kind of watching him a little bit right before, like while I was cleaning up the house and everything and getting everything set up for the stream. And man, that man is a friggin' savant. I swear to God, like I have so much that I want to learn from him. But the really major intrigue of like why I'm so deeply more interested in his work is because he does more work with canvases and like canvas painting and such, and that's something I don't have a lot of experience in. I want to like learn more about painting on canvas, so he is a great resource of information for learning how to do that better. So that's something I'm trying to work on, and it was just so amazing watching him paint away on a canvas. Like it was just like, and the thing that really surprised me is that he doesn't even like always use brushes. Like I was watching him do a lot of the work that he did using a really interesting metal scraping tool, which I have never seen in my entire life. Like I actually do have um, a tool in my collection called a paint spreader, and it's designed for mixing paint and spreading paint across your palette. But I have never used an actual metal tool specifically that is supposed to be like for being like a paintbrush, like a painting tool. Um, but I'm really curious to try and learn how to do something like that, especially considering all the amazing work he was doing with it. Richard Lash calls me his Bob Ross. Well, thank you. And Ratherwood says I'm a spicy Bob Ross. Well, you guys are so nice. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And it was really like it was really cool listening to him like talk to his audience about like what he was doing and how he was doing it. And he was talking about like, like some of the things he was doing was like talking about making mistakes and like making your mistakes work in your favor, which is something I personally really enjoy and like doing. Like I mean, because I don't like making mistakes, obviously, but I do like the idea of like, well, if you make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. Like your art is not destroyed. You can like take your mistake and like make it work for you, which is something I think is really important to know when you're getting into artwork, And Bob Ross really capitalizes on that. Like it was fascinating. Um, he makes it look easy. Also, the paint knives are sweet. Yeah, I've never seen a paint knife before. You know what I'm talking about, Wrath of Wood. I've never seen those, but he is so good at using them, and it makes me want to like get my hands on one to try and learn how to use it. Um, because like the kind of work he was doing with it was absolutely spectacular. Like I couldn't even differentiate it from like a normal like stroke with a brush. It was amazing. Jeb wants to know if I could pick a commander, who would I pick? Um, I have a lot of commander decks that I don't actually play with anymore because I'm not much of a commander player. But if I'm going to go for my favorite commander of all time, it's Palladia Mors. So Palladia Mors is my dragon waifu, and and she was actually Palladia Mors was the leader of my very first ever Elder Dragon Highlander deck. Um, and the thing is that like I don't know, it was really fun because it was like how sometimes like when people play Commander, they have a commander that they don't care about, and the idea is that the deck, like the commander deck, kind of like does all of its own work and it never cares about what the commander is doing. That's basically what my original Elder Dragon Highlander deck with Palladia Mors was like, and it's kind of my favorite. And I do have like an original copy of Palladia Mors from Legends. And I also own two copies of Palladia Mors reprint from, I think it's like M19. Um, so yeah, I mean, I really like that card, and I like the thing is that I have a special attachment to Palladia Mors in particular because she was an important card for me as a child. When I was very little, like a very young boy, like in elementary school, uh, I was first introduced to Magic the Gathering by a friend of mine who was much older than I was. He was actually a high schooler when I was in elementary school, and but we were good friends. Like he was a very nice dude, and we got along really well. And he was super into Magic, and he's the one who taught me how to play Magic. And I'll never forget that he took me to a comic book store, a like a card shop comic book store. And I had never really been to a card store. Like I've been to comic book stores before with my father because my dad was used to be really into comic books and stuff like that. But I'd never been to like a comic book shop that was also like primarily for Magic the Gathering and stuff like that. And so my friend took me to this card shop, and he was kind of like shopping around for booster packs and stuff like that. And I, as a little kid, like didn't really know what I was looking for. I was just kind of like looking at random stuff because the shop had a glass case with cards behind it. Like, a lot of comic book stores have that kind of stuff. And I'll never forget looking at the glass case for this comic book store, and the old glass case had like a whole bunch of really old Legends cards in it, like all sorts of stuff. And I remember like looking at the cards, and I was like, oh yeah, these are kind of cool, I guess, like whatever. And there was all sorts of really interesting cards. And then I'll never forget that I saw for the first time ever the Palladia Mors card, like the Elder Dragon. And something about it just absolutely blew me away. Like I'd never seen anything like it. It looked so savage, and like it was so cool, and I didn't even care about like what the flying and the trample or whatever. I didn't even care about that stuff. Like it didn't mean anything to me at that time because I was so young and I didn't really understand Magic all that well. And I was just super like intrigued by how it looked, and like the overall, because like it looks so savage. If you've ever seen the original art for Palladia Mors, she just looks like a freaking like savage. and there's all those skeletons in the area, and she's like in a deep cave and all that stuff, and I loved it. It was when I saw that card, I was like, okay, I want to play this game. Like, this is the game I want to play now. Like, I've seen the coolest card ever. Like, I'm hooked. Like, I want to know and I want to play. So like in a way, the Elder Dragon Palladium Moors was what got me into Magic the Gathering. Like, if I had never seen that card, I would have probably never felt the same way about, like, Magic the Gathering as I do now. Um, and I mean, I played it off and on, like, all through my childhood, like, as a young teenager, even to being a young adult, like, or, I mean, here I am a full-grown adult, and I'm still involved in Magic, so, it's just been a major part of my life, but that was distinctly the moment that I remember in my life where I was like, okay, this is the game I want to play for, like, the rest of my life. So that card means a lot to me, and like I said, I own one. I didn't actually own a copy of Palladium Moors until I was a teenager. I think it was a little bit after I graduated high school that I got my hands on one. And I got it for a really cheap price because I think I got it for like 10 or $15 at the time. And I think it's worth much, much more money now because it's just considered an old card and it's basically an antique. And I own a few Legends cards that are pretty nice. Like, I went out of my way to buy a bunch because when I was a teenager, I got really obsessed with the Legends set. Like, I mean, I wasn't playing Magic during Legends, but it had such an impact on me as a kid because Legends cards were so interesting to me when I was a kid. Like I said, I didn't play when the set was out, but it was like, the fact that I had seen them and, like, knew what they were and stuff like that, like, deeply intrigued me as a kid. So I just got really obsessed with it, and I bought a few of them. So I own, like, an original Palladium Moors, I own a Dakin the Blackblade, and I own a few other, like, rogue, weird little Legends cards here and there. Ratherwood says, "You're sure you don't want that Lotus or those lands?" No, I want the Elder Dragon. Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, it was like, I mean, and that's the thing, because, like, the card, like, Palladium Moors, like, the old school Palladium Moors, it's not a very good card. I mean, it's alright, like, it's fine, but it just, like, well, because, like, it's the classic thing of, like, when you're a little kid. And, like, you see that one thing that just wows you. And, like, it doesn't even have to be a good card. It's kind of like the idea of, like, yeah, I trade, like, back in the 90s, yeah, I traded my Black Lotus to get my hands on a Shivan Dragon, it's like, it's the cool factor. It's a Shivan Dragon, and, like, obviously nowadays, like, a Shivan Dragon is, like, nothing. But, I mean, at that time, it was a big deal. And a lot of it was just because it was so cool. So, but that's just how I was as a kid. Like, for example, like, I can definitely say that I went through that period as a child where, like, the Black Lotus didn't make sense to me. I think everybody kind of goes through that period in their lives where it's like, Black Lotus, why is this card worth, like, so much money? It doesn't even seem that good. Like, you have to get rid of it. And all it does is give you 3 mana. Pfft, how good could that possibly be? Like, you can't really understand, at a young age, I mean, unless you deeply understand all the mechanics of, like, how Magic functions as a game and stuff like that. Like, you learn to, understand it as you get older. But, I mean, when you're a young kid, like, you don't care about that stuff. It doesn't even matter. But yeah, I that's the card that got me into Magic, and when I finally got my hands on one as a older teenager, I built my first ever Elder Dragon Highlander deck. And, like, I do say Elder Dragon Highlander because at that time, there was no commander. Like, it was Elder Dragon Highlander. And also, like, the only reason why I even built my Elder Dragon Highlander deck is because for anybody who's really old school on playing Elder Dragon Highlander, the original rules used to say that you were only allowed to play with one of the 5 Elder Dragons. That's it. You weren't allowed to play with any of the other cards. Like, there was no other kind of commander. It was, you either played with, Nicol Bolas, Palladium Mors, Via Victus Asmodi, Chromium Ruel, or, who was the fifth one? Arcades Sabbath. And, like, if one of those 5 dragons was not your Elder Dragon Highlander, you couldn't play the game. So, and I mean, that's how I got into it, was I bought it for nostalgia purposes, but I also bought it because I wanted to actually play that format at that time. And obviously, like, it has evolved into what it is now, which is, like, any legendary creature can be your commander, so... But those were some good times. I mean, I'm kind of glad that, it's changed so much as time has moved on. But that was a really fun time in my life that I really enjoyed. And, I actually got a lot of really interesting cards around that time that are weirdly much more expensive than they are now. Some thoughts paint their tits, others paint their woods. Damn straight, Magic Historian. Good to see you, Mike. Glad to have you in here. And we got a Bowfalcon in here. Now that's a fine luxury cardboard rectangle. Trees, bitch. Oh wait, he's not here. Well, I don't know. I actually don't know if Trees Bitch is subscribed to me or not. I don't. He might be. I can't remember. I want to say that I feel like I've seen him in one of my streams before, but I can't recall. So I'm starting to run out of gray paint, so I'm going to make some more real quick. Just kind of flip this around so you guys can see the progress. Like I said, it's just a base coating. I really probably should have tried to get this all set up off camera, but here we are, painting away. And like I said, there are a few details that I'm working on that are a little different than my normal lands that I do. I mean, it's not that different. I'm just kind of curious to see how I'm going to outline the stuff. Like, one of my thoughts was that I was going to paint over some of, the letters in the word forest, and then kind of, carve them out with my toothpick. So it'll be really interesting to see how this works out, because I've never done an altar like this in particular. So I just thought it would be really fun to kind of experiment with it and try some new stuff. And, we'll see what happens. We'll see how it turns out, because I'm very curious. I'm very curious about this one. And I did this one on a whim, too. I'd been kind of, thinking about doing it, but I wasn't really sure. And then, obviously, when I knew I wanted to do the stream today, I was like, I'm doing the forest. This is it. I'm doing it. I'm just gonna go with it, and we'll see what happens. So, but obviously, I just wish I would have prepared a little bit more for it. Because sometimes, I really do try to get these streams going, but sometimes the timing on them and getting everything all settled and figured out is just a little off. And like I said, I've been really busy lately, so it's I'm trying my best to kind of get everything organized for these streams. This paint is not doing what I want it to do. There we go, that looks better. Okay, now we got it. The only problem, though, is that I think that I'm going to run out of this paint as well, so I probably should make a little bit more. I'm just making a gray color, it's nothing special. But yeah, I definitely love my old school cards. I don't know. I definitely, a lot of them, because I always tell people, I didn't even get to truly experience, a lot of the older styles of Magic. The borders on my stream setup make me think of a food-themed movie reel. Kind of they're little pieces of film, but except instead of being the white holes, they're the little peppers. I've never thought of it that way. That's really interesting. But yeah, I never really got to truly experience a lot of the older cards, because when I was a kid, and I first started playing Magic with my friend, I kind of started around Invasion. But the thing is that I wasn't really into the game. I wasn't really into it. I was kind of oh, I'm playing it because my friend likes it, that's kind of how I was. And all the cards that I got at that time were from my friend at that time. And he gave me a lot of cool stuff. He really did. I still have some of the cards that he gave me. but I wasn't super into it. But when I actually officially got into it and I started making, life isn't always about white holes, my man. You have to expand your vision in life. Mike, you're such an enlightening, influence on my life. I don't know what I'd do without you, my friend. When I really started playing Magic was actually in Mirrodin. That's when I got heavily, heavily into it, where I was like actually going out of my way to play the game, whether or not my friend was a part of it. And I actually started really buying my own cards around the Mirrodin era. And that was not a good time to be playing Magic for anybody who has any experience with Magic the Gathering. Mirrodin is not the best, fondly remembered time of Magic the Gathering. In fact, most people really hate it. It had a lot of broken stuff happening in Standard or whatever it was called at that time. And I was not a happy player in Mirrodin. I was very unhappy, and I was thank you, phone. I don't know what you want, but I'm going to ignore you. Even though I just acknowledged its existence by saying this information out loud. But I was playing during Mirrodin, and it was a rough time because, like, I was deeply involved in the game. I was actually trying to participate in, like the meta and, like, going to comic book stores and, like, trying to play with other people. And it was not fun because I was just constantly fighting Ravager Affinity. It was really shitty. It was not a good time. But I mean, I got over it because I mean, eventually Kamigawa shifted in, and that's when I really started enjoying the game a lot. Like, I actually have a lot of fond memories of playing in Kamigawa because it was so much more player friendly than Mirrodin was. And I mean, I did do some fun stuff playing in the Mirrodin block, but it was like, it wasn't me playing at like comic book stores for Friday Night Magic or anything like that. It was mostly, me playing with friends. That was about it. Like, all the fun that we had during Mirrodin was just me and my friends playing together. So that was kind of a good time. So it wasn't all bad, but it's just, I definitely have some traumatic memory of playing in, the Mirrodin block. It was not a good time. And I even remember, because I used to play with some of the really broken stuff, too, that was really stupid. Like, I had a deck that was built around playing with, like, 3 copies of Aether Vial. And it was a big, nasty, like mess. Like, because even now I reflect on the Aether Vial deck that I used to have, and that deck was not cool, man. Like, people hated that. Like, oh, here's all my free creatures. Like, good luck, everybody. Um, yeah, I agree, Historian. Fuck Affinity. It's terrible. It's not a good time. What a busted mechanic that should have never existed. And it's actually funny because I keep feeling like that, like, there was, like, it was really weird because I remember, in Kaladesh, they printed, like, a card that was basically Affinity without being Affinity. It was super weird. It was like a sea serpent or something like that. And, it had, like, Affinity for artifacts without actually having Affinity. It was so weird, and it's, like, it's obvious that they're still trying to kind of, like, see where they can push that ability and stuff like that. It's very weird. It's just, like, you guys should just abandon it, Like, don't even mess with it anymore. And I feel like that it has been relegated to never being printed again. But every once in a while, they'll do something weird that's like, oh my god, I'm getting flashbacks of Affinity. Please stop it. Uh-oh, we've got Rambo in the house. Everybody watch out. We got a badass over here. We got a badass over here. Oh, man. I will have you shaved naked and launched into the sun. Oh, you two are hilarious. I'm glad I have you guys coming in and hanging out with me. It's a lot of fun. I love doing this in front of people. Like, it was really funny because when I first started getting into painting cards, like, I always just kind of wanted to, like, do my own thing, and, like, it was just like a hobby that I never thought would really go anywhere. And then I was kind of, like, encouraged to get into it on stream from Mike Hatcher, actually, Magic Historian. And I was really nervous when I first started getting into it. Like I was like worried that like I wasn't gonna do well and it wasn't gonna be fun and that I was gonna be like nervous all the time on camera. And now I just love it. Like I love hanging out with everybody and I love painting in front of you guys. Like it's something I deeply enjoy and I just want to keep doing it. Like it was really funny because Mike Hatcher was watch out, Rambo. You're gonna get your butt kicked. It was really funny because today in Mike Hatcher's Magic Historian stream, uh, there was a guy who came in and was asking about like trying to make profit on YouTube, and I thought that was really interesting because I feel like that there are a lot of people who are like what Magic Historian was saying in his stream. There are a lot of people now more so than before who like want to believe that YouTube is just this thing that you can come in and do and like you can just automatically be successful at it and and make tons and tons of money. And it's like one of the things that like multiple people, including Magic Historian himself, was saying is that like that's not the case. Like YouTube is a place where you come in and you share your life with people and you're having a good time and you're sharing what you love with people. And, if you happen to make money in the process, that's cool and all. But, like, that's not what it's about because if you're looking to make money, like, specifically on YouTube, like, you're going to have a bad time. And it's very interesting because, I mean, I've definitely gotten donations on here, which is very, very cool. Like, thank you guys so much for doing so. But the thing is, though, is that I just love being here with you guys and, painting and sharing my time with you and just, us hanging out, talking about magic cards and art techniques and, cooking and playing some video games every once in a while. Like, it's just a fun experience to, like, share with people. And, like, I don't think I've ever been, like, until I started, doing content on YouTube, streaming and all that, like, I had never experienced having a hobby where I can just share it with a whole bunch of people, like, just having people come in and hang out and, like, wanting to be like, oh, like, your hobby's really cool. Like, I want to hang out and spend time with you and talk to you about your hobby and things like that. And it's a very fulfilling experience that I've never had before in my life until I, started doing this. And it's like now that I've actually experienced what it's like to do that, I don't think I could ever go back, like I don't I mean, I will admit that I have times where like it's tough for me to be able to stream and I don't get to stream or whatever. But I mean, I definitely feel like I can just keep doing this and I don't really care like whether or not I make money in the process. It's just because like I mean I have a job, like I go to work and I work my regular 9 to 5 style job, and that's the money I make to like survive and continue going and do what I want. So like I'm not like desperate for money or anything like that. Like that's just not the situation I'm in. Because I mean obviously like I have to give up, days of being able to stream and hang out on YouTube because I do in fact have a job that I need to go and do in order to survive. Um, so, but the thing is that like I just love knowing that I can always come here and just hang out and with people that enjoy what I'm doing, and I get to do what I love doing because this is truly like what I absolutely at my core enjoy doing. Like just entertaining and talking and painting and cooking and whatever. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful experience. Oh, Richard, are you serious? Dude, you're so wonderful to me. Hold on, I gotta check. I have to check. Richard, you're so wonderful to me. I don't even you're too good to me. It's ridiculous. All right, I'm checking right now. All right. Whoop. Okay, well, it must be processing, so it's probably going to take a few minutes. Um, Another thing that I'm curious about is that if you donated, it's very weird because I recently reset a bunch of stuff on Streamlabs so that when people donate or subscribe, there should be a pop-up. So I'm really hoping that I assume that it's just in the process of like processing and all that. So that's probably why I haven't received any information yet. Um, but hopefully I can actually get Streamlabs to like show what's going on with that because it's been driving me nuts and I have no idea why I can't get it to work on my Streamlabs. If it doesn't work here today, like I'll just make sure to give you a good shout out, and I will go back and try and figure out like why it's not, showing that information when it really should be. Because that's been driving me crazy. Because I mean, like I said, like I don't expect people to donate, but when people do donate, I really want to properly show my appreciation. I want to make sure that they get shouted out in the stream or the channel. I'm hoping that pop-ups will appear and show that you guys are being so generous and kind. So, I mean, I got to get that figured out because it has been driving me absolutely insane that Streamlabs has been giving me so much trouble. Here, let me double check one more time because do I have it here? No, it must still be processing. Or if you meant maybe I'm misreading that. Maybe what you meant is if you don't mean that you donated like now, which is fine. Maybe you meant that you have donated in the past, and this is very true. Richard Lash is a very kind person who has very kindly donated to me multiple times, and I super appreciate what he has done for the channel because you guys also might notice that the lighting is different. You might notice that they're like, I mean, obviously I'm still having some issues with the focusing, which is something I'm going to try and improve later on. But you guys might notice that there isn't really any glare on my face or on the card. That's because I have a brand new lighting system right over here, and the funding for the lighting system was in much appreciation from Mr. Lash. So I now actually officially have a decent lighting system for the channel for when I do these streams and all that stuff. So, yay! It worked! It worked! Look at that! Look at that! It worked! It worked! Bo Falcon donated $200. Aw, thank you so much, Bo Falcon. So now I have the thing working, and the question is it going to give me a bad time and stay up there forever? Because it's done that to me before, and it drives me insane when it does, or is it going to go away properly? So I'm going to let that sit there for just a couple of minutes because it works! And I'm happy to see that it works. But if it doesn't go away in like a minute or two, I'm going to freak out and like forcefully turn it off. Because that is apparently the, how my life is on Streamlabs. But thank you so much, Bo Falcon, for donating $200. I super appreciate it. You really, really rock. And I am glad to see that Streamlabs has officially registered you as a donator on my channel. So things are going nicely. I think I might have this thing figured out yet. However, story of my life, I can't get this thing to stop. Okay, hold on. I gotta figure out why it won't go away. I'm sure you guys love the image. Well, that's the thing is that, Richard, if you donated through PayPal, it still should register on Streamlabs. So I don't know why it hasn't, like shown that you've done some stuff yet. Hold on a second, because this thing is driving me positive. I love it. I really do. Okay, there we go. Okay, I fixed it. We're good. I forcefully stopped it. So once again, I still have to get some kinks in the system figured out. And we will get that figured out eventually. I'm constantly working on trying to improve this channel. I swear to God, you guys. And like I'm trying to learn editing, which is a very slow process for me because I'm not a very tech savvy guy. I want to just, do everything I can to make a great, wonderful, fun experience for you guys. Um, let's see, what is this? Aha! All right, well, I see the money. Thank you so much, both from Bo Falcon and also from Richard Lash, because I see both of your notifications. Yeah, $100 from Richard Lash. Thank you so much. You guys are so awesome. I really appreciate it. You guys rock. It looks like there was just a slight delay in the process, Richard Lash, but it seems as though it's also not registering on Streamlabs, so I don't know. It's like, sometimes it's working and sometimes it isn't, and I have to really figure it out. I'm going to have to go deeper into the settings, and, oh, that's how Bo Falcon did it. Okay. Well, I really appreciate you guys for doing that and supporting me. And I will mention once again, like, I really love the donations and it is wonderful and I really appreciate it. But also, like, I just love having you guys here. Like, I legitimately do, because it's a situation where, like I said, like, I've never in my entire life had a situation where I've been able to spend time working on my hobbies and enjoying them with people that I enjoy being around. Okay, well, you know what? I will, for the future reference, I will go into my description below, and I will edit it so that there will be a Streamlabs link in the future. So, and that'll probably make everybody's life a little bit easier, because I know that PayPal's a little fickle, especially when working with Streamlabs, which is kind of weird because it's worked before with Streamlabs. So I don't know what changed. I feel like it's got to be something on my end that I haven't been able to, like, get to work right. So I'll definitely have to figure it out, because I really want the people who are very kind and willing to donate to my cause and situation here, my channel and getting it all set up. I want everybody to be properly appreciated for what they do, because I think you guys are wonderful, and I don't know what, like, even without the donations, like, I wouldn't have a channel if I didn't have the people in here spending the time with me and having a good time, and I just want you guys to be appreciated for what you guys do. So thank you so much, Bo Falcon, for the $200. Thank you so much, Richard Lash, for the $100. And I will also make sure to go into my Streamlabs and I will try to set it right so that we can actually make it so that you guys are more properly appreciated in the future. So thank you so much. I'm kind of trying to figure out what I want to do with this little area down here. I'm thinking about bringing the gray coloring closer around the letters and the symbols, and then scratching off the excess paint with a toothpick. So, oh, I just now realized Carly's in here. Well, thank you so much for coming in and hanging out and giving everybody who donated a wonderful ring-a-ding-ding. So, thank you so much. Magic Historian says, Streamlabs will not register donations to your PayPal not done through Streamlabs, my man. Oh, that's weird. Because, well, here's the thing. There's an option in Streamlabs that says, like, you register your information through PayPal. And I've done that multiple times, but I guess that must be something that's not actually functioning properly. But thank you for bringing that up, Magic Historian, because that's been really bugging me trying to get that figured out. Let's see. I'm just give it a minute. There is a second. Oh, there's a second. Jeez, Richard, thank you. I'm sorry. I'm trying to. You guys are getting me all distracted here with all the money. Why? Like, thank you, but why? You guys rock. Thank you so much. You guys are so cool. But yeah, I definitely want to keep improving my overall quality, and it's just something that, like I said, like, I really need to kind of teach myself how to make these things work better, because I'm just not a very tech-savvy guy. And I want to be Like, I mean, I want to be able to provide an experience for everybody that, everybody has the chance to enjoy. And it just becomes a problem when, like, my inability to understand, like, computers and things like that creates a hindrance for other people that want to be a part of what I want to do. So I need to get better on that. Another thing too is I'm slowly teaching myself video editing, very very slowly. I'm trying to I have some ideas for some actual videos, like not streams, that I want to do. And the problem is that obviously if I don't know video editing, then I can't make videos. So I mean I can do all these streams and all that, which is a wonderful time, like hanging out with you guys and doing these streams is an absolutely wonderful experience. But I also want to actually provide real video content. I want to actually do like little video clips. Like I have some ideas where I wanted to do like painting tips, like little like 10 or 15-minute painting tips and things like that. And I also wanted to do with continuing on for the painting tips, I also want to you guys might notice that I'm kind of painting over the words. Don't be too worried about that because I will scratch off the paint that is meshing in with the words. But anyways, I want to do painting tips that are like 10 or 15 minutes long. And I also want to do some videos where they're lapses, like paint lapses, where I will... Okay, Magic Historian, thank you so much for stopping by. I super appreciate you, man. I'm kind of assuming also that Carly might have to dip out, so if you have to dip out too, Carly, thank you so much for stopping by, you rock girl. So yeah, much appreciated having you guys in here. It's always wonderful. It's a wonderful experience. But anyways, yeah, I want to do like painting lapses where like I will paint a card or something off of a stream. I'll do it in a video. And then I'll speed up the time so that you guys can see like a 4 or 5 hour process done in like 10 or 15 minutes. So that's something I really want to work on. And I just want to keep I want to make a variety of different kinds of content. And I also want to make content that is more comfortable for audiences who can't, spend like 2 hours in a stream, So I just want to make the overall experience of this channel comfortable for a lot of different people. And in order for me to do that, I have to actually teach myself editing and working with my software a bit better and functioning with this computer as well a bit better. So it's just, I swear I'm constantly trying. So I'm going to take my little toothpick here. You can see it in the camera. And I'm going to kind of scratch off. I'm gonna wet the toothpick just a little bit, and I'm going to scratch off some of the paint that I have here. I'm going to let it dry a little bit, and that's also going to add like an effect of where the words stand out from the paint. Excuse me. Carly says, it seems overwhelming at first, learning all this new stuff, but you totally get there. So what's really interesting is I was really obsessed with trying to like get a proper tutorial, for learning how to do video editing and stuff like that. But I was surprised to find out that a lot of people who do, video editing and stuff like that don't really, most of them have told me that they don't really use the tutorials. They just kind of experiment with all the options that they have available to them. Like they just kind of try things out, see what works, kind of experiment and play with some stuff. So with that idea in mind, I think I might try to make a random set of videos. Like I'll probably do like a painting video, like this stream for example, and I'll probably just take it into the video editor and just toy with it until I get something interesting. So, because I've had multiple people tell me you just gotta play with it until you figure it out, and I think that sounds like a pretty smart idea. But I definitely have to get on it. I will admit, I haven't been as into it as I probably should, and I definitely need to actually sit down, for a couple of hours in front of my computer and just tweak it until I figure it out. And that's something I really want to do. But, I can't do it until I sit down and actually do it. So, that's how it goes. But I plan to. I really do. Okay, so I'm going to kind of like scratch out these little symbols here, like the symbol, and maybe I should add a little bit more paint actually. I know it's been about an hour into this stream, and obviously, like, I haven't even finished my primer. But that's because this particular primer is very tough. It's just very different from how I normally do primers. So I'm having to spend a little bit of extra time getting this primer. Like, I have in the past, like, obviously not on stream, but I have in the past spent like an hour doing primers before, depending on the kind of card or artwork that I'm working on. So this one in particular is definitely going to take me a long time. Um, I do hope that I can get this primer finished before, um, you know, before the stream is up, because I do actually want to put in some real color. But I'm just trying my best to get this as clean and nice as I can. And it's also very hard just to kind of like do stuff like this. Like, I do want to do more cards that have like everything covered up except for words, like what I'm doing here. But I haven't experimented a lot with it, so it's something that I kind of just need to get a little bit more practice in. And I feel like that this is a good way to practice that exact kind of technique. And I do want to do it for some older cards. Like, that's the thing, is because, like, this particular technique of, like, covering up the words and then scratching them out a little bit so that they look more clean is particularly useful when you are painting older cards, which is why I'm using this older land. So it's definitely giving me a chance to really practice that and kind of experiment with it, because I don't get to do that very often. So this is definitely a very experimental stream with what I'm working on here. And I like that. You know, I think it's kind of fun that like I get to kind of like hang out with you guys, but you guys are learning like my painting process while I am simultaneously learning it. So it's kind of fun. I don't know. I think it's an interesting thing when you get to kind of like see when you kind of get to see something, like somebody who is trying something for the first time, or they're experimenting with it because they don't have much experience with it, and you kind of get to see how they go about it while they're in the process of learning it. So I now have the symbol and the words kind of carved out a little bit better. There we go. And when I do the color, it is going to I'm probably going to have to scratch it out the same way I did this. But we'll worry about that a little bit later. The word forest is also pretty decently... I kind of want to add some more primer to it for the upper part. I currently reside in Idaho. That is where I live. That's pretty much the majority of what I'll say about like where I live, because I don't want to dox myself, which is another interesting topic that we were talking about today in my catcher streams. But yeah, I live in Idaho, and it's pretty nice here. Like, I do all right. It's a good... I don't know. I like this place a lot. I originally come from... Oh, no, don't worry, Jeb. It's okay. It's okay. You're not in trouble or nothing. You're fine. It's okay. I've told people online before where I come from, so it's fine. But I actually originate from California, and you know, I'm really glad that I don't live there anymore. You know, I know that I have plenty of fans who do live. I think Bo Falcon is a Californian. But you know, I am glad that I got out of California when I did, and I'm pretty happy here in Idaho. I do plan on eventually, like, I don't want to live here forever, because I do have... Oh, I forgot I have coffee here. It's probably cold. Way too hot? Dude, it's freezing here. Oh, man, that's so funny. No, it's all good, Jeb. I totally understand. I mean, I don't want to stay here. I actually have plans to move away from Idaho eventually. It's part of me following my dreams of where I want to actually be. I've talked about it before, but I'll mention it again. I really want to live in Hawaii. That's like my dream home. I've visited Hawaii before, and I absolutely love it. I think I'm ready for some color, so it looks like we are going to actually move on to some color here. Um, let's see. I think I want to start with a green. So we're going to make ourselves a nice little green. I'm going to get this out of the way, and we're going to actually start working on some real color here. But I do actually want to like live in Hawaii, and that's something that I'm constantly striving for. I do plan to live there eventually, and I don't know when it'll happen, but I know it's going to happen because I'm going to make it happen. Because that's the kind of person that I am. I like to make things happen for me. So this green is, I'm peeling off an old green. This green is kind of like a really dark green with some bluish tones. So knowing that, I'm going to use my Phthalo green to kind of set the tone for what we're working with here. I don't know how well it's going to be, like right off the bat. So, and I'm always very careful with how much of this particular paint I use. It's a very expensive paint. So I try not to go too crazy with it. Maybe in winter, summer burned my scalp like a mother. I'm in Washington and I never want to leave. It's okay, I know what you meant, Jeb. Yeah, I've been to Washington before. In fact, actually, wait a minute. No, I live, like, not too far away from Washington. I could literally, like, I can, like, go out a couple miles and be in Washington. I recently went there to go visit Seattle. I was visiting, my sister was visiting her friends, and I was spending some time with her and her friends. And it was a lot of fun. I definitely kind of want to go and visit Washington again eventually. I'm going to try this green and see what happens. Yeah, it's a little dark. It's a bit dark. Maybe I can fade it out just a little bit. I mean, it's a good start, but we definitely need a lighter tone to this green, so we're going to have to do that. So I'm going to, now that I know how that looks... Oh, let me bring you guys down. I'm sorry. California calls me back. I know it wants me back, but I don't think I want to go back to it. It's, California is a harsh and cruel mistress, and I had to learn that the very hard way. When I left California, I was broke, and I was in a lot of financial trouble. So, I'm much better off now, but, I don't think I really want to go back to California, because I worked very hard to get out of California, and I don't think I'd want to go back. But I mean, I really do want to eventually live in Hawaii. That is my end goal. That's where I want to live for the rest of my life. That's where I want to retire, I don't know, it's just, I love it there. Like, I mean, I've had plenty of people say, like, oh, you don't want to go there, like, there's all these problems and crime and blah, 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 and it's like, yeah, but, like, I can cope. Like, I mean, I've lived in some not so fantastic areas in California before, and I did just fine, like, so I think I could probably cope living in Hawaii. And I know it's also very expensive, but I really think that I can make it. Like, I'm very good at adapting to, society around me and what the financial, requirements are for wherever I'm living at the time. So, I mean, I really do think I can make it work. So I'm not super scared about, what kind of financial climate Hawaii or, whatever might be in. Whatever issues they might be dealing with. Because I can make it work. I know that I can do that. Like, I've yet to have a situation where I mean, like I said, I was kind of in trouble when I was living in California, but I mean, I got out of it, and I bet if I really absolutely had to, I probably could have survived there longer. But it's just not what I wanted to do. Like, by the time I was getting out of California and moving here to Idaho, it's also partially because, like, my family was out here, And I wanted to, make sure that I was close to my family and, all that stuff. And, I mean, that's obviously going to be changing, but, I just kind of, I like what I'm doing and where I'm at and how my life is currently. Because, you know, if I never moved here to Idaho, I might have never, started my YouTube channel the way that I'm doing it now. And I might have never figured out that I love painting. And I might have never, figured out that I loved cooking because I didn't really get into cooking until I moved here. So it's, there's just all sorts of stuff going on. And I can contribute it all to, being here in Idaho. Um, oh, Carly is getting her wedding all set up. I'm so excited for you guys. That's so cool. Um, I want to hear more about it, Carly. Like, tell me about it later when you get the chance, okay? I assume that she's probably not here at the moment because she's probably on the phone. But Jeb says, I just left Seattle earlier today. Way too populated for me, but I love visiting there. The food is amazing. This is very true. They have very good food. Actually, that's funny because that's like what I was doing a lot while I was in Seattle was we were just eating in all sorts of different places and kind of, oh, that works so nicely. Just to give you guys an update, I am now adding a shade of white into this green to kind of blend it better. And it's looking pretty decent. The shade of white is definitely helping a lot for this particular painting, or this particular area of this painting. God, I love how, like, what's really nice is that, because this is a Christopher Rush piece, and I really love Christopher Rush and what he does, or what he did, I should say. It's got this really interesting, like, cartoon appearance to it, but at the same time, it's very, I don't know how to describe it. It's like an animated style, but it's partially serious. Like, it's just very interesting, and I like it a lot. I just love what Christopher Rush does with his artwork, and I hope he's, in a better place now. But even to this day, I can still always appreciate his fantastic eye for art and style. He's definitely one of my favorite magic artists of all time because he's done so many interesting things with his artwork, and I love it. I'm going to try and add a little bit of black because all in all I'm trying to get these colors to blend better, and it's just not dark enough, but I think that if I add some shades of black to it, it's going to kind of blend just a little bit better, but I gotta be cautious with the black. So we're just gonna add, I'm gonna start right here because this is kind of a darker area off to this side over here. And then I'm just gonna kind of like, there. That kind of makes it a little bit darker, blends it just a little bit better. There we go. I'm just trying to figure out how to get this green to look right. And sometimes, like, when I try to get these colors to work, I'll just, like, layer multiple colors on top of each other without blending them. Because sometimes, like, it's like you can work on a particular color and constantly blend it. And no matter how much you blend it, it's not going to look right. But sometimes you can just kind of layer another color on top of it, and it'll blend much, like, it'll look compare. Oh no, no, oh no, do you guys see that? I just scratched off my paint. That's so bad. That's so bad. Oh god, I have to fix it. Oh, it's so terrible. I barely ever do that. That's not good. That is not a good thing. Okay, let's see if I can fix it. So I'm going to lay down this layer of paint perfectly, just like on the spot that I accidentally scratched off. And what we're going to do is we're going to let it sit. We're just going to, like, not touch it. We're going to, like, let that particular spot of, like, green just kind of sit and dry. And that's going to allow us to have a new layer of paint covering up the scratch I just made. My part of California is pretty cool. I live in cow country, I shoot guns, I ride four-wheelers, and blow shit up. That's super funny, Richard. That sounds like, my cousins, used to, like, live on a big open piece of country out in the middle of, like, bumfuck nowhere of California. and they built like a huge property and like had all this farmland, and they used to go out and shoot guns and ride their ATVs and have a good time. And I used to go out and visit them every once in a while, and we would have such a great time. But there are areas of California that are like that, and it's really nice because it's like, a lot of people just think that California is kind of a, like an area where it's just all city all the time. But there are some really beautiful areas of California that are very worth visiting. One of my favorite places was I used to love going to Eureka, California. It's so beautiful in that area. Like, it's such lush green and moist temperatures, and it's a very cool area. I also used to hang out in Trinidad as well, which is like this really beautiful beachside area in California that's also close to Eureka, and it's very beautiful, and the ocean areas are very, very nice to hang around in. I'm sorry, Richard Lash. Let me double check. That's my bad. I see it here. It says, ring-a-ding-ding, Richard Lash has donated another $200. Thank you so much, Richard Lash. You rock, man. And I'm sorry I didn't check that earlier. I appreciate it. You guys are so cool. I really appreciate that you guys, like, enjoy what I do, and you want to donate and help out to the channel, and 1 penny. Yes, that is correct. Richard Lash donated $200 and a penny. And I will make sure that penny is put to great use. I will purposely separate it from the $200, and I will put that 1 penny in a very special place. Oh, I see. Richard Lash wanted to one-up Mr. Bo Falcon. Well, you know what? Let's see. Let me see if I could do something. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Hold on. So I don't have a Lord of the Board, but somewhere around here, I know I have something like that. Let's see. Let's see what I got. I got something here, I'm sure. Okay, this one's perfect. Alright. So I don't have a Lord of the Board, but what I do have is I have a card, and this card is going to say Richard Lash 201. There you go, dude. There you go, big boy. Special just for you, my friend. So that's what I got for you. 201 penny. So, I don't have Lord of the Board, but you are now Lord of the Island. You are King of the Hill. How about that? King of the Hill. Oh, 1 penny, not 10 cents. I'm sorry. Here, you know what? You know what? Fine. This is just a really awkward 0. See? It's an awkward 0, and then there's a 1. And that's an awkward 1, too. So now I have 200 and an awkward penny. How do you like that? So I'm going to put that right here. It's framed right in front of my face, so I couldn't possibly miss it. And, yeah, you have your own little private island now, Richard. How do you feel about that? Oh, you guys are so cool. Alright. So I'm going to add some green on this side. I'm really trying to just kind of, like, flesh out, like, how I want this to appear. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with this art. I haven't had time to really figure it out simply because I've been so busy just trying to, like, get the primer all set up here. That's a good price for your own island, damn. Bo Falcon knows what's up. You guys are too funny. Oh, I just love this. Like, I just love hanging out with you guys. Like, it's a lot of fun. I don't know, like, I'm at this point now where, like, I don't know, like, it's really weird because I don't feel like I've talked about this a lot, but, like, before I started, like, doing streaming and working on this YouTube channel in the way that I've been doing it now, like, I was really bored, you know? Like, I was so bored. And, like, I would have days off, and I just wouldn't know what to do with my time, you know? And, like, I didn't really have anything very fulfilling happening in my life. And I was just kind of, like, I wouldn't say depressed. It was just, like I said, it was just, I was really bored, and I didn't know, like, what I was trying to do with my life or what I wanted to do on my free time or anything like that. And like when I first started streaming, I was really like not sure what was going to become of it, and I wasn't sure if I was even interested in making it this thing that I was going to do on a regular basis. But like after my first couple of streams, I felt hooked, you know? Like I knew that being on stream and hanging out and chilling with a bunch of people that I love spending my time with, like, and like a major part of it too is like I got to a comfort level of like when I first started streaming, immediately I just started hanging out with people that I knew, you know, like Bo Falcon and Richard Lash and Wrath of Wood and like all of you guys, like I know you guys from other places in YouTube. And it kind of added this like interesting like comfort level to what I was doing because it was like like even if I had like random people that I'd never met before, which is starting to happen, like I am actually starting to get people that I've never met before coming in and hanging out every once in a while, which is very cool. Um, but I just felt so much more comfortable when I knew that I had all these people that like I'm like, oh, I know Bo Falcon, like he's a good friend of mine, and oh, I know Richard Lash, like he's such a cool dude, like I hang out with him all the time on Mike Hatcher streams, and it just kind of helped me ease into doing this more. It's like because it's like I always have like the core crew that want to come in and hang out and just chill and listen and watch some painting and interact and it's made me more comfortable to everything else, like having new people come in and you know spending time with people that I've never spent time with before. And I don't know, I would say that like I feel a lot more fulfilled, and I feel like I'm getting to know people better, and I'm actually like opening my lifestyle to more people. And I don't know. It's just I don't think I could go back to not doing these things. It's just such a unique experience that I've never had before. Like I mean, the only thing I could say is that like the only thing that is close to this kind of experience that I'm having now is when I used to play like a couple of MMORPGs back in the day. And like I used to go and hang out with like a core group. I used to have like a guild that I would hang out with, and we would always do stuff together, and like we'd interact with each other outside of the game here and there. And it was just such like I don't know, I guess that's kind of close, but it's not the same. It's not the same feeling because like I'm doing something. When I was doing that, I was spending time with people who were all like there to play a game, and we just so happened to like bond over playing a game like that. And I guess it's similar, but this is more of like, what I want to do. And that is very interesting to me. It's not something that I would have ever believed that I could have in my life in the way that I have it now. Um, these colors are kind of like not being the way that I want them to be. And I'm trying to figure out what to do to get these colors closer to what I want them to be. Maybe some white? Do you guys think white would work? I'm thinking white might work. Let's try some white. We're gonna play with some white, boys. Let's see what happens when we get this white going over here. Um, but yeah, I just, I'm really happy that this has become the way that it is now. And I don't think I could ever not have it this way again, you know? And I mean, I definitely mentioned that there's sometimes where I just can't, be here hanging out with you guys, which, you know, like I definitely like want to spend more time with you guys, and I am working on that constantly. But sometimes it's just not in the cards, like it's just not something I can do all the time. But I am trying to. Does that look better? That does look better. That looks way better. Okay, so I'm just going to start applying white to all of the green areas to kind of fade it out a bit, because that seems to be helping pretty well. It's getting me that lighter faded shade of green. Uh, it's working. It's taking some time to get it to look right. Um, and there's some interesting little streaks across the artwork here. They look like little tiny like white branches of some sort. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's definitely very. It stands out to me like a lot. So I think I'm going to try to kind of get some of those streaks in here and there. But yeah, and like I said, like I want to keep diversifying my content. I want to do more things, and I kind of want to just, I don't know. I don't really want to have like my channel be only one thing, and I kind of like the idea that like, painting is kind of a thing that I do regularly, and I have people coming in and watching me paint and stuff like that. And like that is kind of a decent focus, but I don't want that to be everything. Like I like it when I come in and I play a game with you guys or do some cooking or whatever. So I just want to keep you guys on your toes. I like the idea of like you guys can come into a stream and like, oh, what's he doing today? Who knows? Like, let's go and find out. Like, make it like a little miniature surprise each time. It seems like something that I want to do more. And I am also starting to get like a bit of a larger audience too, which is very cool. Like I am hoping to kind of expand my audience more and just get more people interested in the kind of like stuff I'm doing and um, you know like there's definitely been some people who are coming in who like that I know personally who are curious about my artwork, and it was actually really funny because I had a coworker of mine question me about like all the stuff I was doing, like my painting and things like that, and they were like, well, like, are you performing your painting and like all this stuff, and like it was really funny because she couldn't, like, this coworker of mine wasn't really sure like what it was that I was doing on stream, and she was kind of like questioning me for like more information because she was like legitimately curious about it, and I was just kind of trying to explain it to her because I get the impression that she doesn't like really know what streaming is, I guess. But it's definitely piqued her enough that she came up and kind of asked me all sorts of questions about it. And I did encourage her to actually come in and like check out my channel and like come and hang out and watch me paint, because she seemed like she was genuinely interested in like my painting and stuff like that. So I'm just kind of trying to expand my audience, get new people in here, and just don't know how I feel about this. This looks right. This does look all right. Um, but I don't know. Huh. I definitely need more white coloration. This is such a weird one. And it's funny because when I was picking this card, this forest, to paint today, I knew it was going to be like a weird, like I didn't know what I was going to be doing with it. Because there's some aspects of it that really kind of are different from other, cards that I've done. So I'm kind of just trying to like experiment with it and figure it out. but there is some genuinely weird things about this particular land art. A lot of like what makes this card weird to me is that the artwork is so focused on this one square. So like, cause like a lot of like the current artwork for like lands and stuff like that are usually expanded out. Like they actually go past the box formation. Um, and there's like there are some really good examples of card like lands that you can see that do that. Like for example, if you have like the Zendikar lands, you could tell with that in very well, which was that you could see that if you had like an expanded land art from Zendikar, and then you had a normal land art of the same exact artwork, you could compare the two, and you could definitely see how the box is not the whole entire artwork. But this particular artwork, in my opinion, is all focused on this one box. And it's really hard to kind of like expand it outwards from where the artwork already is. Um, so I'm kind of having to like, wrestle with the colors and things like that and kind of like test things out and then look them over and then see how they affect. Um, yeah, the focal point is the little rectangle. That's very true, Wrath of Wood. That is very true. But I definitely want to kind of like expand past that. And it's really interesting because when you have artwork that is actually focused on a small area, like what this artwork is, um, it generally is like, like it's generally ended, in that one box. So like it's hard to add more detail to what is already like a finished piece, um, rather than like how like a lot of the land arts are done now, which is like there is actually more to it than what is actually printed on the card. And like I said, like the Zendikar lands are really good at showing that. Like I actually learned a lot about landscape art just from like looking at the extended lands from Zendikar, because they do a lot of really interesting things with their expanded art and like lighting effects and things like that. Um, it's just really interesting. They're good cards for learning that kind of stuff and kind of getting an idea of like what the artists were actually intending to do with their art rather than what they had directly available in front of them. Okay, so I kind of added some white. I think I'm going to make it just a little bit stronger here in this area, just to really brighten it up because it's a little faded. There we go. Oop, that's not what I wanted, but that's okay. That's all right. I can fix that later. There we go. That looks all right. I like it. That looks fine. Yeah, I like that. Okay, cool. And I'm also going to add some white over on this side too. Just like that, because I really want that white coloration to pop a bit more. And, but I also want more white over here, so we're just going to add some more streaks here and there. Definitely want that to be better defined right there. Oh yeah, happy little Hobbs. Yep, it's true. I'm a happy boy. When I'm painting in front of you guys, like, I am such a happy person. I try really hard not to stream when I'm in a bad mood, because I have done that before, and usually when I'm in a really bad mood, I'm not having a good time on stream. That's actually happened to me like 2 or 3 times now. But it's actually funny, the streams that I do where I'm in a bad mood, I actually usually delete them at the end. Or I at least private them, because when I'm in a bad mood, it's really apparent, I feel like. And I don't like sharing that with people. I don't like it when people see me in a really bad mood. It kind of makes me, a lot of the time I feel like a jerk, like if I stream in a bad mood, I feel like I'm acting like a jerk. So like I try really hard to like not be in a bad mood when I stream, but it does happen. And usually when I'm in a bad mood and I stream, I usually get rid of the stream afterwards. So, but I'm in a great mood. Like, that's the thing, is because like today, like I said, like when I today when I woke up, I knew I was going to stream, and I was totally in the mood for it. And I'm like, I'm ready to do this. I want to do this. Like, I want to be here, and like, hanging out with all my friends online and painting and doing my thing. And so here I am, and I'm really happy that I'm here. I just knew that I was going to be doing this, and like I was ready for it, and I wanted to do it. And that's the thing too, is like I really like this kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier about like the idea of like trying to profit from like YouTube and stuff like that. Like I'm here because I'm having fun, like I don't think like that's the thing is because like I knew YouTube was like I knew that there was a possibility of making money off of YouTube like years and years and years ago. Like no joke, like back when Markiplier and like PewDiePie and like Jacksepticeye were really starting to make lots of money. Like I knew that you could in fact get into a situation where you can make lots of money on YouTube. But like at that time I didn't care. Like I was like that's not enough to like make me want to do YouTube. Like it's not. Like knowing that there's a chance that you can make money on YouTube is not enough to make me actually want to do YouTube. What pushed me to do YouTube the way that I'm doing it now is I genuinely wanted to be a part of like a group of people who want to hang out and have a good time and be a part of what I love, And that's what I want. Like that's what I want. Like I just love sharing this with all you guys. Like God, I feel weird right now. Like I mean, it's just I have this really weird fulfilling feeling right now. And I don't know, like I've never felt that way about YouTube before until I started doing this, and it's just knowing that I get to come on here and I just get to hang out with a bunch of cool people. Like I don't know. I've like I know I was talking about it earlier and I probably have talked it to death, but I've just never felt that way before. Like until I started this channel. Like I really had never felt that way before in my life where like I'd never felt something so fulfilling and fun and just wonderful, like it's just a great, wonderful, fulfilling experience for me, and I'm officially at a point where I would never trade it away for anything, like God, it's a weird feeling. Like I don't know how to explain it other than what I've already said, but it's cool, and I love you guys all for it. Like all you guys hanging out, all you lurkers, all you talkers, all you donators, all you subscribers, all 81 of you, all 81 of you, like you're all wonderful to me, and I love you guys for it. And it's just I don't know, like I don't really know what other way to kind of say it or explain it, but it's just an amazing feeling. Like I don't know. It's cool. And you guys are cool. God, my brain, it's just blech. So when does Slivercool get the chance to beat up on Spicy Sliver in Arena? Richard, I'm not an Arena guy. I just don't like it. I don't like Arena. I actually used to have it on my computer, and I tried it a couple times, and it just wasn't my thing. Like, now see, here's the deal, Richard, if there's ever a time where you happen to be coming through Idaho, and you stop off, like if you happen to be near me and we happen to meet up somehow, you know what I will do? I'll challenge you to a match in Spicy Cube. How about that? And you can have the chance to prove to me how worthy you are in a Spicy Cube fight. How about that? Wrath of Wood says, I'm feeling like using YouTube a little more too because of you and Hatcher. Dude, Wrath of Wood, I'm going to give you the greatest piece of advice that Mike Hatcher himself gave to me when I told him that I was interested in YouTube and doing a YouTube channel. The greatest piece of advice that Mike Hatcher ever gave me, and this piece of advice literally changed my entire life. he said to me, just do it. Don't let anything stop you. Don't create any barriers for yourself. Don't let like money be an issue. Don't let editing skills be an issue. Do it. Just jump into it. Go all out. Do it and have a good time. Don't be concerned about money. Don't be concerned about subscribers, like or views or whatever. Do it and have a good time, man. Just do it and have a good time. Yes, just like Nike, Richard. I did see that. You just gotta do it, man. If it works for you, then great. And if it doesn't work for you, then move on. Like straight up. Like it's definitely like you just have to love it. Like you have to realize that it's something you love. And like if you're not having a good time, then you need to move on, obviously. But if you do it and you realize that you enjoy every moment, like I sometimes do streams that only get like maybe 10 views. And then I do streams where I do like 40 or 50 views or whatever. And like the thing is that like whether or not those streams are popular or not, like it never enters my mind of, oh, I need to stop because what I'm doing is not popular. Like that never enters my mind, like ever. Like I mean, I would appreciate it if my stuff was more popular, but whether or not my stuff is popular is not this major concern for me. It's not stopping me from like doing what I'm doing. I'm doing what I'm doing because I love it. Like I just want to share like what I'm doing with as many people as possible. And like whether or not it's the most popular thing is hardly something that it's not something that's stopping me from doing it. Because here's how I look at it. Eventually, like I'm going to do something that is going to get big. It's just bound to happen. Like it's kind of like the idea of like if you're constantly doing stuff, like it's like you're throwing spaghetti at a wall, You're going to keep throwing things until something sticks, And it's bound to happen. Like if you're constantly like working on material and you're constantly, working your butt off and having a good time and doing what you love and keeping up with it, like you're going to do something that's going to make people like really love what you do. Like, I mean, I'm happy with just having 7 of you in here. Like, really, seriously, like, that's enough for me. I've had streams where I've had 3 people in my stream. That's enough for me. Like, I'm cool with that. Like, that means that there are 3 people that genuinely enjoy what I'm doing. And I mean, here I am, and I'm seeing that there are 7 people who really genuinely enjoy what I'm doing. And that means a lot to me. Like, that is what, like, makes me want to keep doing this no matter, like, even if I had only 1 person coming in and hanging out with me. Like, that's 1 person who genuinely enjoys what I'm doing. And that's a lot. That means a lot. So, Ratherwood, if you want to get into YouTube, do it, man. You just got to make sure that you do it. Like, don't let anything stop you. Just go in, have a good time, do what you love. I'm making a new green. Making a new green here. Let me zoom out so I can actually show you the green that I'm working on. But yeah, man, like, just kind of, just follow your dreams, guys, Like, there's a reason why I say that. Just follow your damn dreams, okay? Just follow your dreams, okay? Don't let anything stop you from accomplishing your dreams. I mean, I will say this. If your dreams involve harming people, please don't. Like, don't don't do anything that's going to harm people or whatever. But I feel like the majority of people that come in and hang out with me and do all this stuff with me, like, you guys are good people, and I can tell. Like, so, follow your dreams, guys. Like, seriously. I'm adding a yellow. I'm going to try to make this green a little bit lighter. Because there is some green here that I really want to set up. And just kind of take this off the cap. And we're going to try and work with it, and we'll see what happens. I'm going to kind of just mix that up. I'm basically going to start working on like the leaves and stuff like that on the upper part. And, excuse me. That came out of nowhere. um, so I'm getting kink shamed by Hobbs now. Hey, man, don't don't hurt people. I'm gonna be straight up with you. Like, don't hurt people. Um, I mean, whatever happens in your bedroom between two consensual adults is fine, but don't hurt people. Just saying it. Like, please don't. um, I don't like seeing people harmed in any way whatsoever. Like, I just don't. I don't have a stomach for it, and I don't. I don't know. I just don't like, because we were talking about that too earlier in Mike's stream, which was that he was talking about getting kicked in the head that one time, and the thing is like, I was there when Mike got kicked in the head, and I freaked out. Like, it scared me. Like, if you were actually there, like, and you saw that kick happen live, like I did, like, I legitimately thought that he had, like, I thought that he was in serious trouble from that, because that kick looked bad. Like, it looked really bad. And I was, like, legitimately scared for him. Um, But I just don't like seeing people get harmed, especially people that I know and care about. Like, it really bugs me. Um, so I don't know. This is a weird topic. I'm just like, I'm a very live and let live kind of person. Is what is my point? Is I don't like seeing people harmed, and I don't like that kind of stuff. It's definitely, like I said, like, I'm not a BDSM like you guys apparently, but it's just, like I said, if it's between two consensual adults, do whatever you want, but, like, just don't hurt people, like innocent people or random people or whatever. Rebecca says, I'm frustratingly waiting to be told that I can spend less time in this damn chair. Then I am totally getting back to painting. I saw it too. It freaked me the fuck out. Yeah, Rebecca, I know what you mean. And I do hope you have a quick recovery. I know you're going through a lot of stuff, girl, but I hope that you can get out of that chair and you can do what you want. And I'm really excited to hear that you really want to get back into painting. That's always... I love it when people come in and tell me that they're doing painting and stuff like that, and, having a good time and stuff like that. So I really do hope that you can get back into that stuff and take it easy, because I know that you're going through a rough time right now. So I wish you all the best, girl. Um, and yeah, I know what you mean too, like when seeing Mike get kicked in the head, that was not a good time. Like, I mean, I know that, there are some people out there who are like, oh, that made my day. Like, I love watching him get kicked in the head. And it's like, screw you, man. Like, it's not cool, dude. It's not cool at all. Like, I would never wish anybody that I know to get harmed like that, because that's not okay. Um, I don't know. I'm just really sensitive about that kind of stuff. Because, I don't know. I just care about people. Like, I care about the people that I know in my life and stuff like that. And it's just weird for me. Like, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But, yeah, just, be good. Don't hurt people. Have a good time. Follow your dreams. All that fun stuff. I'm messing with my paint here. Trying to get this color to last long. Ooh, that really helped, actually. I added some water to this green. Um, I am planning to go over this green with the yellowish green I just made, but I wanted to do a base layer of this green first to start with. And then we'll go over it and blend it. So that's kind of what I'm setting up here. Yeah, looks very nice. Looks very nice. I like it. And let's see. I think I'm going to add in that yellowish green. I missed that stream because I usually miss the day streams, but I saw it later and couldn't believe it. A crazy guy kicking heads. Glad they put him in jail. Yeah, Bo. Yeah, it was not good. I don't know. It freaked me out when I saw it. I did not like it. Let me bring you guys closer because I'm trying to see what I'm doing here. Oh yeah, I still have coffee here. I keep forgetting. Mm. Ooh, that sounds fun, Rebecca. What card are you going to paint? That's a lot of fun. I have some really interesting ideas for doing some future painting. There is a project that I'm planning to work on very soon that's going to be taking a lot of time and resources, but I'm very excited about it. And like that's the thing too is that like when you're into painting and stuff like that, like never be afraid to experiment with stuff that you're not used to. Like, and it's okay to like, you know, mess up because most of the time you can always fix your mistakes. And like one thing that I've also learned that's really interesting about painting is like sometimes you might think that something looks ugly, you know? And but it's not. Like that's what's weird. I know that seems really simplistic and kind of strange to say, but I have learned that just because I believe that something doesn't look good, like when I create something or I paint something, and I believe that it doesn't look good and I wish I could have done better, a lot of the time there are multiple people who are like, oh my god, like this is amazing, I can't believe you did this, and I'll just be like, really? Like, really? You like this? And they're like, oh yeah, like I love how you did this and how you did that and this and this and that. And it's like, really? Because I'm not a fan of this one. I think I did a terrible job. And they're like, no, you're an idiot. Like, you know, like don't doubt your own ability to paint. So like, even if you like do something where you're like, oh, I could have done so much better, you'd be so surprised about the fact that people will still find like your artwork to be really great, even if you believe that you didn't do a good job. And like, there are even people who will say like, it's the flaws that make those things stand out, you know? Because I've definitely seen interesting paintings where you're like, oh my god, like I love this little detail, and then the painter's like, yeah, that detail was an accident. Like I splattered paint on the painting and it wasn't supposed to be there, and it's like, but this looks so good. Like, how did you do this? It's kind of like what we were talking about earlier when Bob Ross is like, mistakes are okay because you can correct them, and sometimes they, you know, add more detail and blah, 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 and, you know. There's a lot to be said about how that man painted, and it's definitely taught me an impressive amount of stuff about painting that I didn't know before. And I am trying to watch more of his work. The more I watch his stuff, the more interesting it's been for me. Yeah. I still have no idea what I'm doing with this. I'm just kind of like going with the flow and correcting things as I go along based on how they appear. But I mean, sometimes that's just the best way to handle it. Like, you just kind of go with it, and then you see what works and then what doesn't work, and then you kind of change it up a little bit here and there, and, you know, that's how I like it. That's how I like it. Yeah. Oh, that does look decent. Okay, okay, I can dig it. I can dig it. And I'm also probably going to add some spots along this greenish area as well, just to kind of change it up. Definitely needs some more work. Maybe some yellow. Especially right there. I don't like how that looks. Let me change that. Bad with names, but the one with the lemur on the side of a mountain? Isn't that a black card? I think I know what you're talking about. It's like something lemur, and like there's a joke about the thing because it's supposed to be lemur as in like an old horror, but like the artist misinterpreted the word lemur and actually drew a lemur. Is that the one you're talking about? Because I think I know what card you're talking about. Yeah, and it's got like a little lemur, and he's got big eyes, and he's got little wings on his back. I think I know what you're talking about. And like the idea is that because like there's a creature called a lemur, and then there's the animal called the lemur, and the lemurs are like they're like horrors or like elemental creatures that are like made up of like slime. Um, and but the artist who was like assigned to do the artwork got the word lemur mixed up with the word lemur, and he painted a lemur instead of a lemur, which is really funny. Um, but yeah, that's a famous piece of artwork specifically because of that misinterpretation. That's a funny one. I'm going to add in some of this green over here, just kind of changing it up. Well, I mean, I'm not changing it up because I'm still using green, but... I don't know how to go about this green. I'll be honest with you guys. I've been trying all sorts of different shades to kind of try and change it up to get it to look right. But it's not quite doing what I want it to do. So I think I'm going to... One of my tricks is to just kind of darken it with black, and that does seem to help a lot. But at the same time, like, I just don't think it's matching quite right. I think I need some yellow. And I think I need some white as well. So it's definitely a bit of an uphill battle for this one. Yeah. Yup. Yup. Hmm. This is tough. This is a tough one. I knew that this was going to be tough when I first started this stream. Let's see here. Trying to see if I can kind of get sneaky with this black. I'm kind of adding a little bit of water to kind of let the paint... Ooh! Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. That's too dark. Okay, hold on. Oh, that's a little bit better. That's a little bit better. That was just a little too dark right there at the top. But I'm trying to, like, spread it out. There we go. And that's the thing is, like, when you have these colors that end up, like, too dark or too sharp, you can always just spread it out. And that helps a lot. Like, I'm trying to make sure that the green is still visible through that black. That does look a lot better, actually. I'll probably need to add some white to, like, to kind of fade it out a bit more. But that actually looks a lot better than what it was before, so... Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Yeah, I think that that's going to be a fun project for you as well, Rebecca. I think you're going to have a good time because it's really funny when you get to like mess around with silly artwork, and the silly artwork is usually the most fun, and the lemur should be a great time. What was it? There was actually a another lemur card in Time Spiral, and if I remember, I'm not 100% sure, but I kind of recall that it references the other lemur from Ice Age, if I remember correctly. But like the artwork was actually done correctly, where it's like slime people and all that. So it's just kind of cool. I always love it when stuff like that happens, like when artwork is not quite what it's supposed to be, but it ends up like being really interesting or having a history or whatever. It's always a lot of fun to do that. There we go. I think that black helped. Look at that. Oh my god, I did it. I fixed it. Oh, that makes me so happy. So all it needs now is a little bit of white and probably some yellow, and it'll blend so nicely. I was so nervous about this top portion. And, yeah, Viscid Lemurs. Yeah, that's exactly the one I was thinking. I actually really like that card. If I remember correctly, I have a bunch of cards set aside specifically for painting. That's where I pulled the little card here. And you know what? That also makes me realize that, give me a second here. I have, like, here, I'll just go ahead and show you guys what I'm pulling from, because you probably are like, what is he reaching for? So, see all these packs? These are all packs of cards that I want to paint. And they're all pretty thick, like, all of them are pretty thick, full. These are all lands. You can see I have some more of the revised lands in here. Here's some starter 99 stuff. This one's from, like, I think that's Odyssey. There's some Alara lands in here. These are all lands I want to paint. Oh, here's another one that's kind of interesting. This one's from Mirage. Have some Mirage lands in there. And this one over here is a pack of cards, of like all sorts of different cards that I really want to paint. And like, these are obviously not lands, they're normal cards. But I believe that in this pack somewhere, I have a copy of Viscid Lemurs because I really wanted to paint that one. The one from Time Spiral. I just really like it. I think it's an interesting card, and I thought it would be really fun to paint eventually. But yeah, I keep, like, I know you guys can't really see, like, my whole mess going on here. Like, you guys can only see the table, and you guys can see my face. But on this table is just a mess of, like, paint supplies and brushes and, like, cards, and it's just a damn mess over here. But I wouldn't have it any other way, because this is, like, what I call an organized mess. Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff I really want to paint. Like, I'm constantly pulling cards from my collection for painting. Just because I love it so much. It's just a good time. I need some yellow. That's what I need. Let's get some yellow. I'm just going to kind of pull it off the cap here. Boop! There we go. There's some yellow right there. Just a little bit. I don't need very much yellow. I don't plan to be putting it everywhere, so I'm just going to take a little bit, and I'm just going to kind of, like, add some, like, light areas of yellow into this little area. I might actually need to lighten it up with some white, but before I do that, I'm just going to kind of, like, patch it all around on this green. It's definitely looking a lot better, that's for sure. I was really worried about all the colors blending before, but I think that I got it a lot closer to what I really want it to look like, which is very nice. I like it when it works out like that. There we go. Maybe a little bit over here. There. I only just realized that it's 2 minutes after the 2-hour mark. I wasn't really paying attention to the clock until just now. So I think I'm going to end the stream here, you guys. Because, you know, I try really hard not to go over 2 hours. That's just a little bit too long. But I just want to say thank you guys all so much for coming out here and hanging out with me. I had a lot of heart-to-heart with you guys, talking about, like, the channel and why I do things the way that I do things, and how much I appreciate all you guys being out here and being a part of, you know, my overall painting experience and everything else that I do on this channel. Like, you guys rock, and I love having all of you here. So, I want to give a special thanks to Bo Falcon for the $200, and Richard Lash for the $200 and actually, $300 and the 1 penny, right? It was, yeah, $300 and a penny. And you guys are all wonderful, and I just love having you in here, and I love that you guys love being a part of this. Like, it's wonderful. So I'm just going to say all my normal stuff, which is, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. We have a great time here. Hit that notification bell so you guys can be updated when I'm going to be live or making videos or whatever the hell it is that I do on this channel, because it seems like a whole smattering of interesting things going on around here. You know, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys being here. And as I always love to say, guys, seriously, follow your dreams, guys. I'm dead serious when I say that. Have a nice night, guys. Bye. Ding, ding, ding for Bo and Richard Lash. Bye.